Bakura is a high school student who has had to live on his own after the mysterious disappearance of his sister many years ago. By sheer happenstance, he finds himself within the alternate dimension of Mato, where he is attacked by fearsome creatures called Shuki. Yuki has saved 7th Squad of Demon Defense Force, led by Kyoka Eden. Kyoka tells her subordinates, Himari, Shushu, and Nei, to look for other survivors while she protects Yuki. Unfortunately, the Shuki she had enslaved and used for combat dies until Kyuka gets the idea of using her peach ability on Yuki, who is suddenly transformed into a Shuki-like monster. In this new form, Yuki is able to help the 7th Squad rescue other survivors, and while the 7th Squad evacuates the survivors, Kyuka gives Yuki sexual pleasure as a reward for turning him into her slave, for that is the toll her peach ability takes on her. She offers Yuki the opportunity to join her squad, and Yuki takes it, as he wants to become a hero and avenge his sister. Upon arriving at the 7th Squad's dorm, however, Kyuka informs him that since men are not allowed to join the Demon Defense Force, he will only be able to contribute to the squad as a slave in the battlefield and as a caretaker within the dorm. Despite his best efforts to keep the dorm clean, Yuki feels unsatisfied with his current duties, especially because Himari keeps antagonizing him and Shushu keeps to take photos of him and wants to use them to blackmail him. Nei explains to Kei that Mato is actually as big as the entire city of Tokyo, and there are 8 squads patrolling Mato. She also says that she, Kyoka, and Himari will have to attend to a meeting outside the dorm, so Yuki and Shushu will be left in charge in their absence. Shushu, still showing some interest in Yuki, challenges him to a video game. If she wins, he will become her slave, but if he wins, he will force her to delete the photos she took of him. Shushu wins and uses her peach ability to take Yuki's clothes off. Suddenly, a group of Shuki attack the dorm, and Shuki can only fight them for a while before the effects of her ability wear off. To help her, Yuki begins touching and licking Kyoka's clothes to trigger a partial transformation, and he is able to destroy the largest Shuki in the dorm and save Shuki. Sometime later, Kyoka penalizes Shushu for her recklessness and sentences her to helping Yuki with housekeeping. Shushu, having developed feelings for Yuki, continues teasing him and taking photos of him. Meanwhile, a mysterious female Shuki attacks a squad of DDF Force's soldiers and detects the presence of Yuki within Mato. After going to the human realm and doing paperwork at the DDF's headquarters, Kyoka tells Yuki her reasons for joining the DDF. Back when she was a child, her family and entire hometown was destroyed by a mysterious one-horned Shuki that Kyoka has called the Uni-horn. Since then, she has promised to hunt down the Uni-horn and avenge the loved ones she loved. Before returning to Mato, Yuki convinces Kyoka to visit a cafe and enjoy the chance to relax. Once they return to Mato, the 7th Squad is deployed by intercept a group of Shuki, led by the mysterious female Shuki that has been attacking DDF soldiers recently. She also happens to be in command of the Uni-horn, the appearance of which enrages Kyoka. During the battle, Yuki and the female Shuaki seem to recognize each other, but the female Shuaki is forced to retreat when Kyoka violently attacks the Uni-horn. Upon watching Yuki trying to save Himari and Shushu, Kyoka realizes that the lives of their comrades are more important than her own need for revenge and orders a retreat. Upon returning to the dorm, Yuki and Kyoka begin to suspect that the female Shuki must be Yuki's sister, Aoba. But before they can investigate any further, the 7th Squad is visited by Tenka Izumo, commander of the 6th Squad, and Yachiho, Himari's older sister. Because Shuki attacks have become more frequent, Tenka suggests an exhibition match between squad as a form of training. Himari, anxious to beat Yachiho, asks Kyoka for permission to use Yuki as her slave for her match, despite the physical toll it will take on her, and explains that her ability allows her to copy other people's abilities, including that of Kyoka. With Himari as his master, Yuki unlocks a new slave form that enhances his speed but reduces his strength, while Himari learns that whenever she uses Yuki as her slave, she will have to give him pleasure the same way Kyoka does. As their training progresses, Yuki and Himari grow closer together, with Himari revealing that her family, the Azumas, are filled with highly prestigious members and overachievers like Yachiho. Himari constantly tried to live up to her family's reputation, but she came up short, something that Yachiho always teased her for. She also explains that Yachiho's ability allows her to stop and rewind time, which means that Himari and Yuki will have to come up with a plan to get around Yachiho's ability. To make up for his reduced strength, Yuki learns to concentrate his strength in a single body part whenever Himari is his master. Once the match begins, Yachiho immediately uses her ability to rewind time, but Yuki and Himari had already planned for that. Yuki runs across the battlefield to trick Yachiho into constantly using her ability and exhausting herself. Once they are outside the range of Yachiho's ability, Himari tells Yuki to attack her while Yachiho is vulnerable. Unfortunately, Yachiho stops time for 10 seconds and shoots Yuki and Himari with special bullets modified for usage within Mato. Yuki inspires Himari to keep fighting and, together, they trick Yachiho into leaving herself open to a gunshot from Himari, who is declared the winner. Once the combatants' injuries are healed, Yuki and Himari go to their kitchen so they can drink water. But the price of using Yuki as a slave causes Himari to kiss him, an event witnessed by Shushu, who is about to begin her match with Sahara Wakasa. Meanwhile, mysterious figures watch the exhibition match from a distance. The match between Shushu and Sahara begins. Shushu, wanting to impress Yuki, attempts to beat Sahara without using her ability, but once the fight drags out, the combatants are forced to use their abilities. In her giant form, Shushu is stronger, but her attacks are easy to dodge, while Sahara uses her ability to increase her speed and agility. Shushu stomps Sahara into the ground and knocks her unconscious, but this triggers a secondary ability of Sahara. If she gets knocked unconscious, her body will move on instinct and attack friends and foes alike. With this new power, Sahara beats Shushu, who is heartbroken that she did not impress Yuki like Himari did. Yuki attempts to console her, and Shushu uses the opportunity to steal a kiss from her. After Shushu and Sahara get their injuries treated, the 7th Squad's dorm are attacked by an army of Shuoki, led by a humanoid known as Ryren. The DDF squads regroup and mount a defense. Kyoka and Himari enslave Yuki at the same time, and Yuki unlocks a new slave form, while Yachiho fights Ryan on her own. Yachiho is left severely injured, but Tenka, having already obliterated a huge portion of the Shuki army, rescues her and prepares to fight Ryan on her own. The 6th and 7th squadrons continue their fight against the Shuki army, while Tenka faces Rai-Ren on her own. Even without her ability, Tenka causes a small injury on Rai-Ren's arm and opens a hole in the space-time continuum to throw Rai-Ren in it. With the Shuki army defeated, the 6th and 7th squads agree to call off the exhibition match and investigate the humanoid Shuki that led the attack. Having used Yuki as their slave at the same time, Kyoka and Himari have to reward him. Sometime later, Yuki, Kyoka, and Himari visit the 6th squad's dorm so that Kyoka and Tenka can plan their next move. Yuki does the 6th squad's laundry and sees that, in their own way, Himari and Yachiho have grown closer as sisters. As their meeting concludes, Tenka asks Kyoka if she can keep Yuki. Meanwhile, Ryan is about to be consumed by the hole opened by Tenka until she is rescued by Shikoku, another humanoid Shuki who has been attacking DDF squads to measure their strength. Since the 6th and 7th squads proved stronger than she anticipated, Shikoku believes she and other Shouki should join forces to fight the DDF. Tenka attempts to convince Kyoka to relinquish Yuki to the 6th squad and says that she can recommend Kyoka to the position of Supreme Commander, but Kyoka declines the offer, both for her own feelings for Yuki and because she wants to ascend to the position on her own merits. Tenka teleports into Yuki's room and tries to seduce him, only for 7th Squad to catch her. Even with Kyoka rejecting her advances, Tenka refuses to give up on Yuki, as she has fallen in love with him. The next day, Kyoka tries to test new transformations for Yuki, with Nei and Shushu serving as volunteers. With Nei as his master, Yuki obtains X-ray vision and enhanced hearing, and Kyoka decides to reserve that form for scouting. With Shushu as his master, Yuki's strength increases at the cost of his speed and mobility, and Kyoka decides that form is impractical, much to Shushu's disappointment. Later, as Nei prepares to go to school, Yuki offers to go with her, and Nei reveals she joined the DDF to find her parents, who disappeared in a Mato mishap. Kyoka and Tenka have a conversation about the recent attacks from humanoid Shuki and receive news that the commanders are planning a gathering to discuss their next move. An army of modified Shuki attacks the 7th Squad's territory, but thanks to Tenka's ability, the 7th Squad eliminates the enemy without too much trouble. Shikoku, having modified the Shuki, has observed the battle from a distance and becomes more interested in humans. Yuki has become a respected member of the 7th Squad, and Tenka's interest in him grows. Suddenly, Nei gets a vision of a human under attack by Shuki, and the 7th Squad deploys to defend her. Once they reach the victim, she reveals herself to be part of a trio of humanoid Shuki who attacks the 7th Squad and kidnaps Yuki. While Himari tends to Shushu's injuries, Kyoka figures out that the ambush was simply a diversion to kidnap Yuki, who is taken to a hidden village populated by humanoid Shuki. There, Yuki is attended by Aoba, who is finally revealed to be alive and a humanoid Shuki as well. She and her friends, Noun and Coco, reveal that despite their humanoid appearances, they still behave and think like humans. When Yuki suggests that humanoid Shuki appeal their case to the DDF, however, they refuse and tell Yuki the DDF wouldn't only consider them enemies. Aoba does tell Yuki that the peaches from Mato and Yuki insists on hearing the whole story. Meanwhile, Kyoka's body begins reacting to Yuki's presence somewhere within Mato, and she asks the 6th squad for help in saving Yuki. Aoba and her friends explain to Yuki that they became humanoid Shuki after consuming the peaches of Mato and getting exposed to Mato's miasma. Coco and Naon were captured by a secret branch of the DDF that performed unethical experiments on humans mutated by the peaches, but managed to escape and met Aoba, who had secluded herself to a cave and worked really hard to retain her human intellect for years. Their plan is to attack the DDF using wild Shuki they had domesticated, including the unicorn that had previously killed Kyoka's family. Suddenly, the 6th and 7th squads have tracked Yuki down to the cave used by the humanoid Shuki as a hideout and begin their rescue operation. They separate each other into multiple teams, with Shushu and Sahara fighting Coco and Amari and Yachiho fighting Neon. Kyuka and Tenka catch up to Aoba, but Yuki attempts to defuse the situation by explaining what happened to Aoba and her friends. Although the DDF captains offer a peaceful solution, Aoba still wants revenge for her friends and a fight begins. Meanwhile, Shikoku and her faction of humanoid Shuki become aware of the fight at the caves and prepare to move out. While Kyuka fights the unicorn, Tenka keeps Aoba distracted with her portals. Aoba consumes as many peaches as she can, forcing Tenka to engage in a sustained battle. On the outside, Coco and her pet Shuki keep Shushu and Sahara on the defensive. To beat them, Shushu shrinks down to a very small size and Shushu throws her into the Shuki's mouth. Deep inside the beast's stomach, Shushu grows gigantic and tears the beast from the inside, and Sahara uses one of the Shuki's teeth to stab Coco. Meanwhile, deeper in the caves, Yachiho realizes that Naon and her Shuki have been targeting Hamari all along, so she exhausts her energy trying to protect Hamari until Hamari realizes what Yachiho has been doing. To draw Nan out of hiding, Himari fires her guns in multiple directions and incapacitates the enemies while Yachiho shoots them with special bullets. Tenka baits Aoba into attacking the unicorn and leaving herself exposed, but ultimately decides not to attack her, which allows Aoba to inflict damage on her. As the two enemy forces converge, they are ambushed by Shikoku's faction, the 8 Thunder Gods. Since they have no allegiance to other humanoid Shuki, Shikoku brainwashes the unicorn into attacking everyone present, but Yuki and Kyoka step in to fight it. The battle at the caverns continues, and the unicorn mutates into a second, even stronger form, but Yuki breaks its horn with his mouth and restrains it with his chains, giving Kyoka enough time to kill it. With the unicorn dead, Kyoka finally gets closure for the destruction of her hometown, but Shikoku and Joryu retreat, having kidnapped Coco and Naon. While Tenka evacuates the injured back to the DDF's headquarters, Kyoka promises Aoba that she will become Supreme Commander to the DDF so that victims like Aoba will no longer suffer prosecution from the Onmyu Bureau, the secret organization that conducted illegal experiments on Shuki. Aoba decides that she and her fellow humanoid Shuki will stay hidden and avoid detection from Yamashiro, the DDF's current Supreme Commander. Shikoku takes Coco and Naon to her fortress and feeds them to a mysterious beast. Back at the 7th Squad's dorm, Yuki and his friends celebrate their victory with a party and continue their fight against the Shoki.